distinguished panelists, key stakeholders from the Maharashtra government, my fellow colleagues and industry experts. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm good morning to all of you. And it's my pleasure to be among you all and share my views. I've already been told that I am running out of time, so I'll try and keep it as crisp as possible. We already have spoken about climate change concerns, which has basically resulted into significant movement towards energy transition globally. The fellow panelists have already spoken about initiatives which we have taken primarily in Europe to basically cater to that requirement. But it won't be an exaggeration to say sustainability has become core to any government policy and decision making and industry. For India, I would say decarbonization is critical not just to address climate change, but also from its energy security perspective. Let me elaborate on what I said so. If you look at primary consumption of India, 839 MTOE, which is basically equivalent of energy consumed in 2021, 750 MTOE came from oil, natural gas, coal, which is staggering 89% of total energy. While coal contributed to around 57% of all energy requirement, oil and natural gas shared 32%, with some minuscule percentage of renewables, which has got tremendous potential, which my colleagues already spoken about. An important point to note here is that India largely depends on import to meet its oil and natural gas requirement. In 2021-22, India spent close to 119 billion USD on crude oil exports, which is almost 20% of our total imports. In the current year, oil prices have been on the higher side. Until October 2022, we have already incurred expense of USD 130 billion, which is 30% of total import quantities. So on the coal front, we have ample reserves, but we still continue to import coal, which is close to 208 million tons. And in 2022-23, the first 6 months alone, we have reached 131 million tons. Interesting, the landed average per ton of coal import to September for the current financial stands at 19,324 rupees, while the average notified price per ton of domestic coal stands at rupees 2,622 in the same period. So a lot of efficiencies to be built in here. What are the implications? It is well known that energy is the prime driver for any country's economic dependence of energy on foreign sources results in vulnerability. The key example is our dependence on solar modules on China. 85% of today's module imports happening in the RE sector is happening from China. We have a huge target there, but we have not catered to that requirement, have not built systems or strengthened our policies in India, which now has got corrected with the Atmanirbhar initiative. The PLIs have come in between, but the next 2 or 3 years, we're still dependent on import of modules. The government estimates that due to higher global prices, the Indian fertilizer subsidy for fiscal 23 would rise to second record of 2,25,000 crore, which is 27.21 billion from the previous year of about 1,50,000 crores. The other downside of the higher imports is currency depreciation. We all appreciate in the last 10 years, the currency has declined to 5 to 6%. So in the current geopolitical environment where deglobalization is becoming a major concern, dependence on imports, especially for strategic sectors like energy, can be detrimental to consistent growth that India needs to pull millions of citizens out of poverty. So what are the solutions for it? We talked about the challenge which we have. We talked about the financial numbers, the burden on the country, the implications of it. And we need to also talk about the solutions. And I think this crowd here gathered, the industry experts, can basically dwell upon it. So what we need basically, as Sir also mentioned, a long-term sustainable solution to resolve the issues of India's dependence on energy. Phasing out coal is of course the focus of the government, which we already said, but however, it's not a coming reality happening very soon. faster or more coordination action needs to accelerate at that space. With wind and solar alone, we cannot meet this requirement because our dependence, because this power is intermittent, we all know. That's why we need to work on encouraging the storage solutions, which imply increased attention to technologies like pumped hydro, batteries, and so on. The pump hydro currently is one of the sectors which has not been tapped 100%, and it has got a lot of potential opportunity, which basically will help us in meeting the peak power requirement, basically with the RE energy, which cannot be met by the RE energy right now, especially during the evening time between 6 to 10. We also need to accelerate the creation of manufacturing ecosystem, which I mentioned, to support renewables. The PLIs are in place, but by the time the PLIs and the production starts, we need to have a stopgap arrangement. The government has already introduced BCD, but that needs to be looked at. Another area that a fellow panelists mentioned is about green hydrogen and its variant like green ammonia. I was really happy to hear that a lot of countries have taken this into their strides, and the ships basically are moving into that direction wherein they're going to fuel ships by green hydrogen, green ammonia. I think as a country we have huge potentials, because for green hydrogen, RE is a primary requirement, and we are blessed with RE, renewable energy. And actually it can also help industries like automobile, aviation, shipping, fertilizers, oil refining, steel, etc. and can be used to replace oil and natural gas. For example, the fertilizer industry uses grey hydrogen as on today, which is derived from natural gas that is largely imported. The cost of grey hydrogen at a natural gas price of $9 to 10 MMBTU is approximately 2 kgs US dollars, which green hydrogen produced by electrolysis water currently is at rupees 4 US dollar 4 rupees to 5 kg $5 per kg. This is the same state which we had put our first plant in 2010-11, when we had put the first plant in Maharashtra and Gujarat, when we were paid tariff for almost 16 rupees per unit. And that was the push of our current Prime Minister Narendra Modi, his vision towards solar and renewable energy, which basically took us to the part when the RE cost through the solar is come down to 2.5 rupees. So we are at the same stage wherein we have to encourage this to beat the price which is currently expected in the market. This is similarly in the case of mobility. Along with increased EV deployment, now car based on hydrogen also available in the market. As Sir said, first car, it was a real fun fact, 1930, no one would have imagined. Hydrogen would be even more important if we had basically dwelt on that technology, and we would have been in a different place right now. If the government supports the initial project with appropriate incentives, green hydrogen has the potential to achieve cost parity the way solar module, the RE has achieved cost parity with grey hydrogen, which is derived from natural gas. And an important point to know is that government must treat green hydrogen as strategic sector. And my request to the key policy makers here is to basically come up with policy wherein the green hydrogen, green ammonia can be basically put in as a trust sector, and incentives can be provided to nurture this industry. It is said that a journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. Our firm, Avaada, basically has ventured into green hydrogen, green ammonia. Our proposals are actually under discussion, and we had a patient hearing from the Honorable Deputy Chief Minister Fadnavis ji as well on our proposal. And we look forward to put up the first plant in Maharashtra. Maharashtra is the most industrial state in the country and has been a pioneer in encouraging new industries. We're confident that the state will take the lead in ushering a new era of first green hydrogen project in our country and become a role model for other states to solve the larger problem of India's import dependence on energy. With last, I would like to congratulate Dr. Amit and Shri Wagmare ji for basically thinking about this national summit, bringing us all off together. And I encourage everyone and would be happy to get into discussions to take this discussion forward. With that, I would conclude my address. Thank you, everyone.